All right, what's up, everybody? This is Felix. I'm also known as the Asian Goalie. You're currently tuning in for the Asian Goalie Show. The mission of this show is to create the most impactful platform for beer league goalies to learn, share, and collaborate. This Twitch channel is the only live channel where I collaborate with others and have live interactions with all of you. And if you don't want to miss any future live experience, consider clicking on the follow button. And if you are watching this from YouTube, don't forget to click subscribe, and if you haven't done so. And if you have already done so, you are totally awesome. Today, the finale of this month's theme here, we have the story behind the Go Camp, where I invite beer league goalies YouTubers on the show to share their journeys being a video content creator. And our guest today, we have the one and only Wayne, the VOGoalie. So if you are a beer league goalie, he wouldn't be an unfamiliar name. Today, we will cover topics around content creators within the goalie community, the positivity and inclusion, the connection and meaning of being a part of this special community. Wayne, are you here with us?
Yeah. Felix, thank you so much for having me today. I am super excited to be here.
Oh man, it's still like a dream-like experience right now for me. I would say it's the 12th episode of Asian Goalie Show. I thought I was doing a little bit of calculation. Maybe I need to do at least like half a year, so that's like 24 episodes. So before I actually get someone like big like yourself to join the show, and then I'm like, wow, like I just leave you a message and you did not really hesitate and just come and say like, okay, let's do it. So I really appreciate you coming.
Well, thanks for having me. First of all, I'm flattered. I don't ever think of myself as like a gigantic YouTuber or content creator. I just think of myself as another goalie that likes to hang out and have awesome, meaningful connections with people like you and people in the community. And so I'm just like a down-to-earth goalie, right? Like we all been there. We all have that shared experience. And I think that's one of the things that makes your show so relatable and so special, is that you can tune in, and as long as you've strapped on the pads one time, you can identify with everything everyone's talking about. And so props to you, because you're doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. That means a lot. I mean, like, I still remember when I first started. I actually never. It's funny because when I first started, I never thought about going on YouTube to actually think about, oh, what do I have to do on YouTube and see that. Actually, until I started to think about building my YouTube channel, and that is when I first started doing research of like, oh, who are the YouTubers out there that actually do similar things, and you were definitely one of the first one that I ran into.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I started my channel back in like 2018, I didn't have any big master plan or anything, that I wanted to accomplish. I just wanted to start making videos for the kind of videos that I wanted to watch and consume. And a lot of the content out there was around younger goalies or goalies of high skill levels, or just straight up game footage. And I thought to myself, well, I like having conversations about a wide variety of different goalie related topics. Let's just start creating videos and having the freedom to talk and do all these things and create the content and make the videos that I always would like to see. And that's really the genesis of how I started everything. And then from there, I never expected it. I was like, I'd be happy if I got like 100 people to watch my videos. And then slowly and surely it just started to build and build and build and build. And now I'm so grateful to everyone that's ever watched or liked or commented. I mean, you are the ones that make my channel what it is, right? It's not necessarily me. It's the community and all of the people that support all of my content, which are you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. That's actually one of my first questions that I want to ask, is the original idea of starting your YouTube channel. You kind of talk a little bit about it. Maybe we can dive deep a little bit of how you evolve like from where you started to there's like a good at least 2 3 years that you started building consistent content from what I see, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So I can talk about this now because I think I'm at the point of my content creation journey
Yeah.
where telling like your origin story is so helpful to everyone else out there to help
Mm.
them come up with creative ideas and learn and grow and do the things they want to be doing, right? And I don't have to, in my mind, my channel right now is kind of at where I want it to be, and I'm happy with where it is moving forward, right? So I'm not concerned about growing or anything like that. And
Hmm.
so having frank conversations about how I did things is refreshing because I want to share all of this wealth of knowledge and things that I've learned, right? I started YouTube posting videos back in 2018, but I did a ton of research prior to publishing my first video. The original the original reason I started the VOGoalie channel was because I recognized that the YouTube platform was where everything was moving to the future, right? It is the second largest search engine on the internet, aside from Google, which is the parents' company, right? Um,
Yeah.
Video components are massively important in everything that we're doing these days. I mean, case in point, we're doing a live stream right now. For my voiceover work, a large portion of that was YouTube based for companies and brands. And so I needed to have a better understanding of social media and channel growth
Mm-hmm.
so that I
Yeah.
could apply that not only to my professional work, but to learn what YouTube was all about, right? I mean, I grew up at a time where I didn't have the internet as a 40 something year old guy now. And so the idea of having this platform where you can essentially have your own cable access show and
Yeah.
say and do the things that you want to do and touch on the topics was super appealing to me, right? Because as a kid, I'd be like, oh, I have to go down to my local cable access station and block off a time, and the reach is only going to be like the 70 people that watch cable access in my town. Um, but the power of a platform like YouTube is so far reaching. And so for me, it was starting YouTube to learn how to make videos. And I wasn't
Mm.
in doing all the research. People always say, all the YouTube gurus and growth experts say, create content on things that you're passionate about. And for me, one of my biggest passions was goaltending, right? I was on the internet looking at gear all the time, um, hanging out on message boards and forums, trying to connect with other goalies, online virtually, because it's hard, when you go to the rink, there's only one other goalie there, and sometimes you
Yes.
don't have a chance to talk to them. And so
Yeah.
you don't have these goalie friends. And then I thought, okay, well, I'm going to create a channel that's inclusive. Um, Someone like me to create a community where we can gather and be goalie friends. Literally, we'll know each other
Yes.
and we can have conversations and we can do all this stuff, right? But the growing pains were super hard. But I did things strategically to start. So, and that was circulating around creating evergreen content where
Right.
people would constantly look up certain pieces of content, goalie related,
Mm.
where my channel would surface. I took advantage of tentpole events, and I was an early adopter of a new brand of equipment, the Warrior equipment, and that immediately
Okay.
helped kickstart the growth of my channel because I was one of the first content creators putting out content around this new line of equipment. So inherently, people were searching for that, and then I would interdisperse other other topics and content that I wanted to talk about
Mm.
myself personally.
Gotcha. That's really cool how you started. I know about you. You started talking about gears, but I never thought that that's the thought behind why you started doing that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it was something that I was really interested and passionate and knowledgeable about at the time. I was
Mm.
always modding my gear. I was always, tinkering with my gear. As goalies, sometimes we go through a lot of different gear,
Yeah.
and in an effort to find what actually ultimately works. And the last set that I had was probably my favorite set. And so at that point, I was like, okay, well, I have enough knowledge to share about this, to establish myself as an authority. And then you do things like you lean on your strengths, right? And so for me, because I produce professional audio, that was always one of my absolute core requirements for all my content creation. And there are a couple videos that I made where I failed at this one core mission of having good audio. And to this day, I still think to myself, man, if I could go back, I would redo those videos. If I could go back, I would probably take them down. But then I think to myself, you know what? It's so much fun to see the growth, just like being a goalie, right? You can see your
Yes.
growth when you shoot your own game footage from the time you start to the time that you are right now. And we watch that game
Right.
footage to see how we develop our skills. And YouTube and content creation, I mean, is exactly the same thing. If you go back and watch my early videos, I I, I dare I say they were a little cringy. It's hard for me to look at them objectively, but um and then you think, okay, you have hours and hours and hours of practicing and shooting videos and editing and being on camera and all this other stuff to get to a certain point where you are now. And then, like anything else, right, it's a journey and you grow. And what I didn't understand at the time when I started my VOGoalie channel was how it would develop, what it would mean to myself and what it would
Mm-hmm.
mean to people watching my videos,
Mm-hmm.
and the impact and reach that it would have,
Mm.
and just the overall general positivity in the community, in a position that feels so negative based, because
Yes.
we get scored on, and that's like us failing and doing poorly, and that happens every single game. And
Yes.
it's hard to have a positive upbeat attitude when you fail and five people on the other team celebrate and pump their fists, right? Because you're like, oh, I feel like crap. But so for me, it became about changing the culture of
Yeah.
how we perceive goaltending, um, how we as adult rec players look at competitiveness and build community and to support each other, because that's ultimately, we as goalies oftentimes stand alone, right? And we don't have that same kind of, our teammates support us, but they don't really know what it's like.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
sometimes we more closely identify with the goalie at the other end of the rink. If they're struggling, we're like, oh man, you root for the other goalie when you know that they're struggling because you don't want to see them fail. And
Yeah.
so, and I think that's something that's unique to our position that you don't
Mm.
find everywhere else on the internet. And so that's really, those are the factors that make this so special.
I'm curious about kind of the, like, were you born to be passionate of video taking? Because I think playing hockey, sharing community, there's a lot of like different ways to do it. Like, I, you kind of talk about why YouTube is the one, but were you always passionate about taking videos, or you were kind of like, you started off with like, I'm scared of the camera, I don't want to do this, and then you just like, oh, I'm just gonna power through it, and then now it become who you are right now.
Oh, well, I don't know if some people know this, but some people might not. I do have a background in acting and theater, and I
Oh,
was
yeah,
like a child commercial actor like a long, long time ago. And so I've always been in that kind of industry. And so for
got it.
me, having a platform like YouTube where I could express myself creatively on my own terms, writing my own scripts, creating my own content, not having to be told what to say all the time, um,
Yeah.
was just super refreshing, right? And doing all the things that I saw other people asking me to do that were just not in line with my core values. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, for me it was just an extension of what I wanted to do. But even that, like when I started, it was, you develop your own voice and you develop your own sense of personality and you develop your own editing style and you develop your own creative outlook on your content
Yeah.
that can be totally different depending on creator to creator to creator, right? You could make the same topical video as someone else and it could feel like a totally different video, based on your creative eye. And so
Yes.
I'm just super, yeah. So I see those things and I thought to myself, man, I could do this, right? And it's funny because, I am in my 40s. And when I told all my friends, uh, I'm going to quit my job and be a voice actor and start a YouTube channel and do all that, they said to me, they're like, what are you doing? You have a nice job. You just got a promotion, you have a retirement plan, you have like all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, man, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to start being creative, doing the things I want to do, spending more time in meaningful ways with my family, and not like, I don't know, being stuck in a rut and just kind of living in complacency. And so once I started doing all these creative things, and then I discovered that I had a platform and an outlet and a perceived
Mm,
talent to help people, it's like, okay, well, that's what it's about, right? That's what the end goal is. It's not about making money. It's about being a good person, helping others out there, and so you can sleep at night, right? Because we can all make more money, but we it doesn't help us in life. What helps us in
yeah.
life is knowing that you've inspired someone to do something, and that for me is just, I don't know why I really am passionate about YouTube content creation and the reach that you can have with a platform like this.
One of the thing that when we were kind of organizing, when we talk about like, oh hey, what we want to talk about in the show, one of the big thing you want to emphasize, you told me, was positivity and inclusion. I want to deep dive into this a little bit more. Is why is this so important to you, and like, is there anything that happened before that makes you feel like, oh, I really really want to build this community?
Yeah, totally. I think that, as an Asian American, playing a sport that is less than diverse
Mm-hmm.
was a challenge because there weren't a lot of NHL players that looked like me.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't a lot of there. I mean, I grew up in a mostly white community, and there was no other Asian person on my hockey team in high school. And for me, I think it's about, I've always felt that inherently my mission is to be a disruptor and to affect change in a positive way. And whether that is breaking stereotypes or exceeding people's expectations or surprising people with whatever, that's part of my core mission as a person. And so for me to have the ability to have a platform where I can do those things on a, not on an activist level, but just as a decent human being, right? To
Right.
to include everyone, because I think hockey is for everyone. I think that the makeup and diversity in the sport has grown leaps and bounds over the last 20 years, and I see that in adult leagues. I see that at the NHL level. I see that across the board with inclusion and certain certain social justice campaigns within the sport. And so I think that's the next wave, right? That's what it's all about. And having shared experiences like sports. I mean, while I do have a background in the arts, I appreciate athletics as well, because I
Mm,
think that there are certain life lessons that we can learn from being a part of a team and understanding that kind of camaraderie and shared challenges and shared goals and objectives, that sometimes you don't understand if you've never been part of a team sport. And so I value both like sports and the arts. And for me, the combination of both is not mutually exclusive. I was having a conversation with another goalie recently about this,
right.
and yeah, it's about breaking the stereotype, right? That there are jocks and that there are other people. And the fact that no, you can be athletically inclined, you can be a good athlete, you can play a sport really well and still have many other facets to you that break people's perception of what it means to be a hockey player, what it means to be a goalie, what it
Yeah.
means to be an Asian American, what it means to
Right.
be whatever that is, right? And so,
I,
yeah.
yeah, I think the key here that I got a lot from you is that it's kind of aligned. Correct me if I'm wrong, if how much I'm aligned with you on this, but I first I really resonate with you on the, being Asian in a very Western countries. Um, I might not be growing up in an environment like you do, where there's a lot of white people surrounding. But I do see the difference because I grew up in Hong Kong. I come here just not able to speak the English language in the first place, to now it's that kind of problem already a big problem for me. And then the next thing that you mentioned about was the stereotyping. And I really agree with you on that. And to me, the problem is not stereotyping. The problem is not many people are willing to understand people's background. Because you might look like an Asian, but your background could be entirely different than another person that looks like an Asian. And when you're able to understand people the way, like when you're very curious about people and their background and really get to understand how they think and why they think the way, that's when you will see a lot of the good things of the person, not saying like, oh, you're Asian, you must be this. Oh, you're Caucasian, you must be this. I really don't like that. And it's actually putting people in boxes. And I think actually it's a very opposite way of how I see of the Western culture. Western culture is all about thinking of the box, right? And it's really interesting when it comes to race. It's the other way. It's the opposite. when people are trying to put people in the box, oh, you're Asian, you must be, oh, you have this disease or whatever, right? Like we all know what we were talking about here, but it's just like, it's really interesting. So the mission of you bringing the inclusions, getting people involved into one thing that, hey, it doesn't matter what background you are, it doesn't matter, you're Asian, you say you can play this sports. I love that, and that's exactly what I want to bring into the show as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's about, right? And what really resonated with me was the NHL's You Can Play campaign, where they said you can play. Like if you strap on the skates, you can play. And I thought long and hard about that, and I was like, you know what, that's true, because it doesn't matter where you are, your skill level, where you came from. Like the second you get on the ice, the second you strap on the pads, you're like one of us, and
Yes.
you know what that's like. And it's a feeling that is, in my opinion, unlike any other when you make that first big save. And for me, I think to myself, if you as a person have the ability and tenacity to start something like playing hockey, specifically becoming a goalie at any stage of your life, that is one of the most difficult things to do, right? There are so many factors and components that you have to learn and take, and steps you have to master before you get out there to make your first save. And if you are able to do that, you've made this
totally
huge,
awesome.
like, yeah, you were totally awesome, but you've made this huge accomplishment, right?
Yes.
You've learned to skate, you've overcome whatever financial challenges you might have to acquire equipment, to get ice time, to find a place to play, right? To get out there, to be brave enough to fail,
Yes.
to get scored on, and then come back again the next night. And so in my mind, goalies are amazing people that have the ability to overcome failures and learn from them on a level that a lot of other people can't. And so if we can take those lessons we learn on the ice as goalies and apply them to our life in just some small way, we can do amazing things. And in my opinion, that is one of the biggest life lessons I've learned from my time playing hockey over the last, 25 years, that I only really discovered within the last couple of years since I stopped playing. And that was, you know what, I've been able to overcome all these hardships and challenges before in the past. I can figure this out and still contribute to our community without having to step on the ice. And so, I think that's really what goaltending is about, right? We are wired a little bit differently, but we all have shared experiences that we are not afraid to fail and not afraid to learn from them. And yeah, applying that to our everyday life, like I said, can be really liberating.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't walk around with the camera. I don't have a GoPro on me 24 hours a day looking at all my daily mistakes that I can go back and watch and be like, oh, I messed up here, I should do that better, right? But the concept is the same. When we strive to improve, right? We're always looking to improve as goalies. We're always looking to get better, to get that edge. And so, in my opinion, I'm like, we should just start applying that to our real life, and yeah, then we'll all
I
be
think
awesome.
that's definitely one of the core thing that bring us together. Like that's one of the thing that I want to dissect when I first started trying to understand why what make us so different than others, and why it bring us to like what bring us together is just very mind blowing to me. At this point, I'm still trying to understand why we are so positive, why we are very unlike other YouTubers out there, that we're all about collaborations, we're all about value creation, right? That's something I'm still kind of slowly kind of like understanding where is it coming from. And I think a lot of that from what I see so far is the appreciation that all of us as YouTubers are sharing the same values to the world. And now they feel like, oh, hey, there's a voice out there that talking about our values, and I agree with it. I feel safe. I want to be part of it, and that's how we kind of get all of us together. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, I think it's really about starting conversations, right? And we talk about people talk about this in real world topics all the time, starting a conversation and then understanding that other people out there are going through similar situations that you are. And
Right.
then when we look at the microcosm of the goaltending community, it starts with, I'm having this problem with my goalie pads. And then you find a video and you see that other people are having problems with his goalie pads. I'm having problems with this, technique, and you find a video and you see that other people are having problems with the technique, right? I'm having problems with coping with loss. I'm having problems coping with failure. I'm having problems coping overcoming this medical obstacle. I'm having problems coping with, overcoming this. And I think as goalies, we just are, I grew up without a goalie coach, so I was always really self analytical with how to
Mm,
get better because it didn't have a third person telling me or coaching me or guiding me on what to do. And so for me, it was always like self reflection, like understand, okay, what I could be doing better, where I maybe, I don't know, failed, or maybe I didn't make the right decision. And so now, with the way that our goalie community is structured, a lot of people post videos of themselves to get that third person eye to help them in their game, right? I mean, people say, can someone take a look at my video and give me some pointers because I don't have access to coaching resources? And
right.
um, everyone is like, yeah, I'll help you. Oh, you should be doing this because we all like to flex our knowledge and our
Yeah,
authority, right,
that's
online.
true.
And so all you have to do is ask in a nice way, and people are more than happy to help you out there. And so when we create conversations around helping each other out, being a good person, right? Like being inclusive, welcoming people, it makes for, in my opinion, something that is severely lacking in the overall world today. And
Mm,
and so once I started doing my daily live streams, even this endeavor, which I only started 6 weeks ago, has been transformative in so much that I now have a better understanding of the purpose it serves as opposed to what my goal was when I first started. And that
right.
was to provide, like you said, a safe space where people can gather, have conversations, talk to each other, connect with other people, and not worry about external, you know, judgment or factors because we are
Yes.
all connected by this commonality. And and frankly, I don't in my live streams, I think most of the people that are able to attend live don't watch the video. They actually are there just to like chat and hang out with each other. And
Yeah.
then I suspect that they watch the upload afterwards. Because yeah, that's my thought process on that. I'm like, I think these people are just here to hang out, and I'm just talking in the background. But hopefully they come back and listen to what I say later on.
That I think that's a good segue to kind of what you're doing right now with your daily stream. For those of you who don't know what's going on, is so Wayne has his Monday to Friday. He has like about 10 to 15 minutes on his YouTube channel that doing a little live stream. That right now he's covering a topic a day, but sometimes he's doing a little bit different things. I would love to hear about that as well. Like, first of all, maybe the why did you decide to do the 10 minutes every day instead of one big video 1 week a day. Let's suppose. What was the thoughts behind that?
Yeah, so it goes back to last year, about this time when the pandemic started and hockey shut down and we all couldn't skate, and
Mm.
I was making strides to get back to the game, and then all the rinks closed and all the games shut down, and I dabbled in live streaming for larger blocks, like an hour at a time, and um, honestly, honestly, I really love live streaming. I love having the interaction with people in real time. I love being able to communicate, read their messages, and answer in a prompt way, as
Mm.
opposed to creating a piece of content and then going back and replying. Because essentially, my mentality was, once I create a piece of content, I'm in it for like about 24, 48 hours afterwards. And then I am moving on to the next thing. And I don't have time to dwell on this. And that's I mean, honestly, that's one of my weaknesses, right? People still find my old content, will comment something meaningful. And I'm like, oh man, I don't have the time, or I don't remember what I said in that video 2 years
Yeah.
ago that
Yeah.
resonated with someone, but I don't have the time to go back and rewatch it. So what happened was, COVID stopped, and then I stopped creating content like a lot of other hockey content creators, because we just kind of got stuck in this rut of, well, we can't play hockey. What do we do? Over the course of last year, I came to the conclusion that I was never going to get back on the ice for a variety of different reasons. And so at the start of 2021, I thought to myself, I have this VOGoalie channel. What am I going to do with it? I am severely missing the camaraderie of the goalie community, and I wanted to get back and reconnect with everyone and rebuild that community, right? And I saw all of these smaller YouTube channels popping up with goalie content, and I thought to myself, okay, there needs to be like a revitalization of all of this. And what can I do to differentiate myself on in this sphere? And that's really what, everything in life is about, right? Differentiating yourself, standing out from the crowd, so that you're able to accomplish the things you want to accomplish. For me, it
Mm.
happened to be that I had the time to live stream, and I thought to myself, okay, if I could take a lunch break every day and create a piece of content and have a community, hang out with my friends, right? I've been working from home by myself for the better part of like 4 to 5 years. And one of the things that I personally miss are coworkers, because I don't have anyone to be like, hey, did you see the Bees game last night? Hey, do you want to
Right.
go get a beer after work? Oh, hey, do you want to grab lunch today? Do you want to go get a coffee, right? I don't have that. And so I thought, all right, well, I'll create a live stream where that will fulfill that need in my life personally, by hanging out
Mm.
with a group of people that we can talk about something, and we'll see how that goes. And so for me, it was, I only have a finite amount of time to dedicate to YouTube. Um, I know, after years and years of studying the platform and best practices and channel growth and content creation and all of the technicalities of YouTube, um, that people are hard pressed to sit down and watch long form content unless they
Mm.
have time to do so.
Yeah.
But people can spend a few minutes every day hanging out and watching a short video. And so for me, and because my goal has always been about other people, right? It's been about helping the community and growing the community. I came up with the idea of making it about you. The show is about you, and
Right.
I'm just the vehicle in which I get everyone together. I provide a little bit of insight because I have a couple decades of a knowledge base with regard to a lot of different aspects of goaltending, um, and and from there it just kind of developed into this, right? I mean, I love showcasing other people. I love boosting other people. I love helping other people. I love, deflecting attention to other people, right? And so, and I love engagement. And I think that's important in today's world, where we are all by ourselves and we're
Mm.
isolated and we're slowly trying to get back to whatever the new normal is, right? But
Yes.
we're alone. But if we have someone that we know is like our goalie BFF that we can shoot a photo over and they're going to pay us a nice compliment, that they're going to tell us that we're awesome, that, someone that just gives us the vibes, the feels, right, that we all need as humans. And if I can do that because I have I have the time to live stream every day and the capabilities to do that, I'm going to contribute to our community in my small way that separates myself from everyone else, and do what is based on my strengths. And apparently that is rambling on and on in front of a camera for some 10 to 15 minutes a day and
Yeah.
hanging out with people talking about goalie equipment. So
Do you feel like you have fulfilled most of the original goals that you have set for this initiative, or are there anything that's going on that you're like, oh, I still need to improve, I want to do something different? What are some of the things that you have in your head right now?
I'm always constantly trying to improve, right? Like goalies,
Yeah.
we're always trying to get better. I'm always trying to
Nice.
get better as a person. I'm always trying to get better as a voice actor. I'm always trying to get better as a content creator. With my channel, I think what's liberating is because I've come to this realization that I am not in it to, grow my channel to 1 million subscribers. I'm in
Right.
it to serve the viewer base that I have and to form more strong and meaningful connections and to help people on a much more interactive way, that I don't have this need to be whatever channel size, that I'm free to experiment and to do things differently and to try new things and see if they work and see if they don't. And also have open lines of communication with the people that are watching my videos, because I think to myself, not just in the goalie sphere of YouTube, but in the I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube videos. Embarrassingly, I will admit that I watch like way too much YouTube videos. And some of my favorite creators, which have large 1, 2, 3, 5 million subscriber channels, right,
Right. Right.
don't have the ability to that I have as a smaller content creator to have that interaction, to form those connections, right? To really make you feel a part of the community, to recognize certain individuals that may or may not come in. And so for me, I like having that level of interaction, because at the end of the day, I'm just a goalie. I'm just like you, and I just happen to have this platform that I was able to grow over a couple of years, to do whatever I want to do with that. But the reality is, we're all just humans, and we're all just looking for the same things, and that is being good to each other and positivity and reinforcement and knowing someone knows you, right? And I
Yeah.
didn't when you start a YouTube channel, you have this preconception of what it means to be a content creator, what it means to be a YouTuber, based on the channels that you watch and the people that you watch. And part of your growth and journey is understanding what it means to you with regards to content creation, what your objectives are, what you're trying to accomplish, what your ultimate goal is, what your core values are, why you're doing what you're doing. And it's totally fine to set certain things at the beginning, and it's also fine to grow and adapt and change and learn and do all those things. And for me, that was that point when I started live streaming, right? I think for me also, it's I didn't think what I was doing was important for a long time. I just thought it was fun. I just thought, oh, I'm being fun. Oh, I'll wear 2 different pads. Oh, that will be fun, right? Oh, I'll do this. I'll make a video about this. This will be entertaining. But what I didn't realize was how certain content resonates with certain people that don't, are in that same situation, and are just looking for some kind of, I mean, we're all searching for validation, right? We
Yeah.
all want to
Yeah.
know someone will tell us it's okay. And that was really that was the genesis of You Are Totally Awesome. It's that I think that we don't pay each other enough compliments positive,
Yes.
open compliments, right? Like we don't say those things to boost each other up all the time. And especially in the goaltending world, right? Because we're always failing, we're always getting scored on. And so if I thought to myself, man, if I could just tell people that they're awesome because I think that they are, and they're watching my videos because they're awesome, and I truly mean that, then, and if you leave my video with a smile on your face and you think to yourself, I feel good about myself today, I feel like I could do something, positive today, you don't know what that reach is going to be like. And
Yeah.
so for me, that is the most amazing thing. People ask me all the time, they're like, what do you do for work? And I say, uh, I'm a voice actor and a social media influencer, whatever that means. And they're like, oh, what do you have,
Mm,
like Instagram and YouTube? And I was like, yeah, I have a YouTube channel. And the first question is, how many subscribers do you have? And I'm like, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter
yes.
how many
Yeah.
subscribers I have,
Yeah.
because it's not about, like, today it's not about that. Today it's about connecting with one person at a time. And if your channel is
Mm,
one subscriber, if your channel is 100 subscribers, if your channel is 1,000 subscribers, you have the ability to connect with someone, and someone relates to you on a level that it's difficult to understand when you start your YouTube channel, because um, yeah, you just don't see it that way, right? You think, oh, if more people saw my videos, oh, if only this, if only that. Well, you know what? Your videos mean something to someone, and that's
yes.
why it's important that you
Yes.
continue your content creation journey, right? That's why it's important that you do this, that you don't take it for granted if you get small views, because those are people that enjoy your content, and your reach can grow with a little bit of tenacity and a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of understanding of what your mission is and who you're trying to serve.
Yeah. What I really catch on is connect one person at a time. Like that to me, it's a very valuable advice for new YouTubers, especially you like when you're thinking of subscribers, you're thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about what it means to people who subscribe to you. You're just, oh, can you subscribe to me? Like I get it. It's a kind of recognition. It's a kind of things that you can immediately see the gratification. Like, oh, cool! Like I got subscribers. Like it's so easy to just to say it, right? But then I think the key thing that I'm also struggling a little bit when I first started is like, can I connect with somebody? Like, do I have something that people would connect with? And how do I get my message out there? How do I get more people to know what I stand for? And that was the I think that is the biggest thing for me is that exactly it's the exposure. Is how can I get more eyeballs onto what I do, because I know that if I spread myself to 100 people, there will be maybe one or two people that resonate with me, and how can I scale that exposure up? That was the next question for myself.
Yeah, so the biggest thing, right, is to be true to yourself. And
Mm,
um, from my standpoint, I think that YouTube is a platform where people who like you will watch your videos and people who don't won't. And
mm,
so you don't have to worry about attracting the wrong people. All you have to worry is attracting the right people. And when you create content that's true to yourself, and that, you say and do the things that are important to you, other
mm,
people will organically gravitate to that. And then that's how the connection works, right? And you don't all you need is one person, the right person, to see one video of yours, to be like, oh my gosh, this person is creating amazing content that's impacting me in a way that's profound. And then they share that with one person, and then it just snowballs from there, right? The
yes,
thing about
yes.
it is that we live in a world of instant gratification, where we almost crave um, rapid growth, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
want to do everything amazingly instantly, right? We want to be the best at everything that we start and try and do. And um, in my opinion, everything is a long game, and it takes a little bit of time for things to grow and develop. And with some nurturing and the right direction, some people get there faster than others. But we can all get there at the end, right? I think to myself, why do people watch my videos?
Yes.
And it's not because I'm an awesome goalie, because I'm not the best goalie you have ever seen play the game, right? And it's not that it's nothing that I have that no one else has. In my opinion, I think what I have is a positive attitude and a little bit of energy. And the people that like that kind of feeling, right? The people that identify with that are the people that I want to keep. I'll tell you a secret. Once I started live
Yeah.
streaming, um, I think I lose subscribers every day. I think people unsubscribe from my channel every day. Some days I have minus subscribers. And so,
Mm.
uh, and you know what? That's okay because at this point in my channel, with the direction that I'm going in, if this is what my core mission is, if this is what I, want it to be, if this is how I want to interact with people, if you don't like it, you don't have to watch like, no one has to watch my stuff. No one has to watch any videos. And
Right.
so I think that when people do, I'm always grateful because uh, they're making a conscious choice to actively participate in something
Right. Right.
that
Right.
is gratifying to you, right? But I also think that it's so hard as when you start out because the way that YouTube is structured, you don't have as a new content creator, if you've never made a video before, you don't have the technical skills that a lot of other people that have been making content have. And you don't,
Mm-hmm.
you as any individual creator doesn't know how much time or energy or resources or training anyone else has. And so if it's easy to compare your channel to someone else's
Yep.
because that's like what we naturally do as humans, but it's so unfair to you because you shouldn't compare yourself to anyone else because you have your own unique set of skills and abilities, as does everyone else. And you don't know how much time or energy someone has put into this, right? Like, so I'll tell you a secret. So before you
Mm.
asked me about live streaming every day, how do I
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah.
Not everyone can do that, right? If you're working a 9 to 5 job, I'm pretty sure you don't have the time to live stream every single day the way that I do. I just so happen to live a different lifestyle that affords
Mm-hmm.
me the time to dedicate to this YouTube channel, right? So
Right.
if
Right.
you're thinking to yourself, man, Wayne's live streaming every day, I should too, well, that might not be the right choice for you.
Mm-hmm.
But also understand this, like what if I told you I um I practiced I practiced before I went live for the first time. And I created 50 pieces of content every day for 50 days. So I did a piece of content a day every day on
Wow.
an unidentified channel that you don't know about in an
Uh-huh.
effort to train to get me to the point where I could live stream Monday through Friday every single day. And so for 50 straight days, shot a piece of content, edited a piece of content, uploaded a piece of content. And then when I hit that 50-day mark, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. And that's the
Wow.
work that some YouTubers put in. That's the work that some goalies put in to their
Mm-hmm.
training that you don't
True.
see because it's not reflected in a public way. But
Mm-hmm.
then you can extrapolate that because you see it in their performance, in the end product, right? So it's about how much work that you're putting in. When we talk about things like connection on that burner channel that I created, that literally was like a throwaway project for me just to practice. There's one viewer. I mean, I think that the channel grew to whatever subscribers, right? But there was one particular viewer who would comment on almost every video. And then
Really? Wow.
at that moment, I thought to myself, well, shit, these videos now mean something to someone. And how am I like going to just break up with this one viewer who is enamored with these videos? Um, I mean, that's the level that I operate at when I think about YouTube. I think of everyone as like a person, as one
Mm-hmm.
viewer, every subscriber as someone watching through their computer, watching through their phone, watching through their tablet, wherever they're watching, that I want to connect with, that I want to have that relationship with. So I try my best to have those connections, and I feel so bad for this one kid who who hasn't seen a piece of content on that particular channel in a couple in a couple months. But I mean, that's the reality, right? Those are the things that happen behind the scenes that people don't know or realize, and they don't, unless you are a content creator, unless you have a YouTube channel, unless you understand that every piece of content, everything you produce has some kind of editorial eye to it, that it is an extension of yourself in in a lot of ways, but you're also telling a story, and you're also trying to convey some kind of message or objective. And that's not necessarily, the lines get blurred on YouTube because inherently YouTube is a platform where we think of real people, not professional actors.
Right.
And so it gets to this like weird blurry place where a lot of people think that they know their favorite YouTuber, but the reality is that that person is potentially has some ulterior motive, right, that you don't know about. And so for me, I try to be as transparent and honest and real as I can. And in my opinion, live streaming is the best way for you as a viewer to see the content creator for who they really are, because it is not editable in that same way, right? When you go live, like you're live and people are listening to you, and if you say something wrong, you mess up, and we all mess up, and I've said plenty of things wrong. I did a whole live stream where I didn't even have my mic on for 10 minutes. And I was like, oh jeez, man. So we all make mistakes, but we all learn and grow from those mistakes. So just like in goaltending, you make a mistake, you think about it for a minute, you process why that goal went in, you think about what you could have done differently, and then you ready yourself for the next shot.
You said a lot of things that I think it's really circle back around the fact that being true to yourself and share what you believe in, I think that is the key. And I think being comparing ourselves to others is a good thing only when you know what you're after. Because when you compare to the others, you can also filter things that you don't want as well, right? That's kind of how I do my content as well. When I see something that I'm like, wow, it's doing so well on YouTube. Wow, there's like thousands, hundred thousands of views. And I talk to myself, okay, cool. Do I want that many views and do something I don't want? Or do I want to do something that, okay, I truly resonate, but I have maybe 10 times less viewers? I would rather have someone who resonate with me, interact with me, be truthful to who they are and who I am, we connect that way, than to just doing something that people want, right? I think it's there's a fine line between the two when you're growing your YouTube channel. It's like, do I want to do something people want, or do I want to do something I truly want? Like, where's that line being drawn? And that's exactly what you were saying in your own words as well. It's kind of how to be truthful to yourself while connecting with other who wants to connect with you.
Yeah, there's this misconception of what success means on a platform like YouTube, right? And oftentimes success is measured by hard metrics, like how many views, how many clicks, how many subscribers, all of that, all of those analytics, right?
Yeah.
But truly, it's, from a creator standpoint, it's about how you're being fulfilled by the content you're creating, by the message that you're putting out, by what you're doing, right? And I'll tell you what, it's hard because my channel is monetized. I do make money off of my YouTube videos and my channel, but all that money goes back into my content creation with different content creation strategies and different things that I have planned for the future, right? And so
Right.
if you're looking at your favorite content creator and you're seeing them do things that seem like they're selling out, well, those people potentially are making a living creating the content that they're creating, right? And that they have to do certain things in order to create the content they want to create, but also to create the content create for you. And so they got to get like, everyone's got to get paid, right? And I think that when you're on YouTube, there's this weird, like, people doing it for fun and people doing it because they want to make money. And it's real easy to see the difference in the content. And I for one, I got caught up. I'll admit I got caught up in a lot of that during my channel growth period when people were
Mm,
approaching me about X, Y, or Z product, where people are
mm,
approaching me about this kind of collaboration or working with this company or this brand or doing this, and and ultimately it didn't resonate and wasn't true with me. And
mm,
so I took a step back and I thought to myself, well, this is not the direction that I want to go in. This is not my message. This is not what I value. I don't want to try to sell people on these products. I want to sell
no,
people on human connection and,
right.
you know, having that and being able to, I don't know, just feel, be better goalies, be better people, and to do the things they want to be doing in their life. And so, yeah, it's YouTube is such a complex beast. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate every minute of every view and every person that's ever commented and connected with me. Um, but it's being a YouTuber can be so hard sometimes because you can't it's not like a job where you
No,
just punch a clock and you go and that's it, right? It's this
yeah.
kind of ongoing thing that you are living your life through a lens where you think to yourself, and case in point, when you go to a hockey, when you play hockey now as a hockey YouTuber, you have to bring a camera, right?
Hmm, hmm.
You have to shoot footage. You have to do this. And when things become have tos, you start to, your passion starts to like leave, right? You feel like this obligation to do this. And I felt that pressure to create a certain kind of content.
Mm, mm,
And
mm,
then
mm,
once I started to be true to myself, that's when it was just that much more fulfilling.
mm,
And you
mm.
form those deeper, meaningful connections.
I think that that definitely closely uh, related to how far you can go as a YouTube channel. Because if you're constantly doing something someone else has wanted to do, you will start to have these dragging. Well, I don't want to do this, but I have to do this, right? But if you're doing something that you truly resonate with, I'm pretty sure, like I experienced that myself, is it comes more naturally. It comes more like the motivation just built from there. You don't have to feel dragging to do this. Like this show, I'm like, when I look back, I'm like, wow, 12 episodes already. I never felt have a moment of like, oh my god, I have to do this again. Oh, I have to find guests. I'm like, I don't have those moments, and that kind of tells me quite a bit. Like over that 3 months of time, I'm actually quite enjoy learning from people. Like no matter they're big or small, I really truly believe that everybody have their own unique story to share. They have their own unique personality to share, and that's so fascinating about people. And I love these kind of, going deep, understanding how you feel.
And that's the thing, right?
One
You're connecting with people you would never have the opportunity to connect with in in any other way, right? Like Felix, I don't think I would ever know you if it were not for YouTube. And then
mm,
it's and you don't know where those connections will lead, right? It's for me growing up without the internet when at a time where we only knew the people that lived in our town, to have a platform, to have the ability to connect with people
mm,
on a much larger scale, to, you know, to impact people's lives in ways that you couldn't possibly imagine, that extend far beyond the borders of wherever you live,
mm.
is just amazing to me. And I'm just grateful of the opportunities that I've had. I try to just be a good person every day. I try to be I try to live my best life. I try to live my best millennial life as a digital entrepreneur, even though I'm probably 20 years removed from every other millennial.
Nobody cares about it, to be honest. I think a lot of these. I think that's a good last question I want to ask for the show. Time went fast, by the way.
Oh
We're
my
already at a one
gosh.
hour mark. I'm like, what? It's already 1 hour. But I want to have something that people can get something out of this show. Is I think this ties back to one thing that I do a lot. I'm sure yourself would do a lot as well from what you talk when you talk about building your contents. It's self-reflection, right? When it comes to preparing your content, when it comes down to your routine, day to day or week after week, do you have times when you just sit in the room by yourself and think about what's next? Or how do you plan these times so that you make sure that you're staying truthful to yourself?
Yeah, I think it starts with the work that you have to do beforehand to
Mm-hmm.
understand really what your core values are and what you stand for, and then having the faith and understanding that if you know who you are and know what you're trying to do, that whatever you do, regardless of topic, will be true to you and help you grow whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, right? And so, um, I think a lot about it for me, right? When I used to work a 9 to 5 job, and when I was doing that kind of work, it paid the bills, but it wasn't fulfilling. And I was missing out in what I thought was life with my family, with
Mm-hmm.
my friends, with where I wanted to spend my time with my creative endeavors. And so once I quit my job, I didn't quit my job to make more money. I quit my job to have a different lifestyle. And so
Mm-hmm.
once you keep that objective in mind and you don't worry so much about certain things like money, how much you're making, or how many subscribers you're getting, or how many views you're getting, um, it's liberating in that you can start to do the things that are true to yourself. And I think in a time and age where we fairly or unfairly conform to societal norms to survive, um, now all bets are off, right? The way the world is now, we can, like, I look at it as a clean slate, just like goaltending, right? Like every new game is a clean slate. And right now I feel like it's a clean slate to start doing the things you want to be doing, to making changes in your life, to pursuing your dreams, to start. But you have to just start. And that's the
Yeah.
bottom line. And so when I hear stories of people like, and I get this all the time, right? When it comes to goaltending, people say, I played goalie when I was a kid. I took 20 years off and I'm getting back into it. I saw this video of yours and thank you so much. Or I've always wanted to play goal. I'm starting up this year. I just got my first set of skates. I just got my first set of pads.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've been a skater my whole life, but I've always felt like I was a goalie and I'm finally doing that now. Thank you for this video that you made. I'm like, man, that's what it's about. Like inspiring people to live their best life, to do the things they want to be doing. It's not about bragging about how great your life is. It's about trying to uplift other people and helping them achieve what they want to achieve. And yeah, sometimes people look to me like as an example, but everyone's path is different and everyone has different skill sets and strengths and weaknesses that they can rely on or develop to formulate and form who they are as a person moving forward. And for me, I didn't make these kind of like life transformations until I hit 40. And I thought to myself,
Mm-hmm.
man, I wasted so many good like so part of me thinks I wasted so many years because I didn't have these revelations until I hit 40. And then
Right.
the other part of me thinks, well, you know what? Your life experiences up to that point formed who you are moving forward. And if it took you that long to figure that out and then to make the changes and do the things you want to do in your life, then that's totally fine. And for me, like that's why I can't I can't, I don't know, I go on and on about YouTube because it allowed me to do all of these things that I had never thought I would have the opportunity or reach or personality or any of those things, right? That having a channel, having this goalie channel of all things has made so many connections, has inspired me to do better, to be better, to work harder for people I don't know, um, to just be a better person overall and to unlock creative potential that I didn't know that I had. And that has improved my life like in just about every facet.
I think one thing to kind of close it off is what we talk about. It's a lot of the experience that you learn over time, and I learned a lot by myself over the last couple of years when I also kind of do a significant change in the way I work. Go from a 9 to 5 now. I'm kind of like a little of a freelancer, but I think what I realized is we're not really going, like, we talk about a lot of the result, or where we want to go, but what really fulfills us is really the progress that we've made, right? When we look back, oh, 3 months ago, where we're at and where we're now. So any step that we take actually already means something to us, despite it looks, oh yeah, it's just, oh, I have to make 1 videos, 2 videos. You just make one, and then, look back and we're like, oh cool, I make one. And by the time you see the progress that you make, and that's how, like, the snowball effect comes in, you're like, okay, I can't stop now, I have to keep going, because I started this. And that's kind of how I get from you. It's the same theme over and over again when going through your the way you explain things. It's the progress and being truthful to yourself.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because in my mind these days, I relate all of these life stories to my experience as a goalie, and the mentality that I have to adopt to play goal, and the things that you do when you play goal every skate, that translate into how you live your life, right? So I think to myself, a lot of people ask me, well, how do I do a butterfly slide as a goalie? And I think to myself, okay, well, the first step is you get your pads and you strap them a certain way to allow for rotation. And the second step is you got to learn to drop into a butterfly. And the third step is you need to, like, learn how to engage your skate, right? Like, there are multi steps, and it's not just that you start playing goal and then you start butterfly sliding the next day.
Yeah.
It's a it's a process to get there, right? You as a new goalie know this, right? And
Oh yeah, totally.
you think that, oh, I'm going to play goal and I'm going to be able to do this, and not understanding that, oh, it could take me a little bit of time, a lot of work to get to a certain point where I feel comfortable doing this eventually, right?
And that's
so
where the fun comes in, right? Like the learning progress. It's not the, oh, I get it. Like, once you get it, you're like, well, what's the problem about it? But, like, when you can talk about how much you've gone through to get there, I think that's where a lot of the satisfaction comes in.
Yeah, I mean, we all want to be good at everything we do, like I said, immediately, but that's not always the case. And so the satisfaction you get of developing is almost immeasurable. When you talk about things like goaltending, right, and learning certain techniques, it's funny because I think to myself, man, if we put in that work into being a better goalie, we can just take a little bit of that and apply it to other things we want to do in our life, and we could be doing so many awesome things that we never thought we could do, right? You get on, you want to play goal, you strap on the pads, you get on the ice the first time, and you can barely skate, and you think to yourself, oh man, I'm never going to be able to do a butterfly push. But you know what? You eventually learn how to do that, and then you can. And we can take those lessons that we learn as goalies and apply them to our own lives in some small way, and then accomplish things that we would never think we would do.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine, 5 years, 10 years from now, what our lives would be at. We were totally not doing YouTube anymore. We were doing something else. Because, like you said, I think a lot of what we learn in goalies, being a goalie, actually applies all parts of the life. I totally agree with you on that. And, whether or not YouTube's going to be a big thing, whether, our YouTube channel is going to get a lot of attractions, like, to me, it's not really what I'm really after. It's the experience that I'm building right now. And you will never know how you're gonna apply this to other parts of your life, and that's exactly it.
Well, it's funny because I was having a conversation with someone just the other day about when we play goal, we make snap decisions based on educated guesses for predicted outcomes, right? With the idea that we potentially could fail and the other team is going to score a goal. So whether that's like a story like a skater coming down the center of the ice with a puck just ahead of him, and we make that snap decision to skate out and poke check that away, we're making a decision where we have a potentially outcome that would fail. But we don't worry about it. And then if we do and they score, we just get back up and we get ready for the next shot. Why can't we make those same kind of decisions in our life, right? Where we're so afraid to fail in our everyday lives that we get paralyzed by our inability to take action. So if you're thinking about something like starting a YouTube channel, just do it. Because even though you might not be the best content creator when you start, nobody is. Just because you might not be the best goalie when you start, but that's not to be expected, right? You wouldn't expect yourself to be at a high caliber playing level when you start playing goalie. So why can't we extrapolate that and apply that to other things in our life? Like, I want to start a YouTube channel. I'm not going to be the best content creator, but you know what? With time and practice, I'll get there eventually.
Yeah. I think one feeling that I definitely got when I'm hesitating of doing something is definitely the afraid, the scared of losing something, or the scared of not getting something. When we're on the ice, I think, especially me being a beer league goalies, I don't have attachment of winning a game or anything like that. I have nothing to lose, so I'm more than willing to try new things, crazy things. And what do I have to lose, right? And I think that same apply to YouTube. It's like when you first started, making one video, making zero, like what do you have to lose? So that's, I think that's where if we can really sink in that concept of, okay, there's nothing to lose, just do it, and there's something to win always. I think everything is a learning lesson. So anyways, man, we are 15 minutes over to our show, and you know what, like, this is very, like, I don't know, we can talk about this like all days, and I think these things takes a little bit time for everybody to understand, and it takes everybody to take some action first, come back, we talk the same thing again, you're like, wait, that's so true. And I think these concepts, you won't get it until you actually do something and you think about examples in your life. You're like, okay, cool, yeah, exactly this, exactly that. But anyways, I think we are circling around the same concept over and over again, and I love it because this is a big reminder, and we all need these kind of reminders, especially in where we are at right now in the world. Is, like you said, so many negativity out there, and what we're doing here is not only spreading positivity, is to explain why we're so negative. There's nothing wrong with being negative, but how can we convert that into emotions? How can we convert that to something that will resonate in a neutral way, at least, not positive, but neutral. And I think that's the core of this show as well, is to explain things in a way that, you know, it's not you, but us, we, right? So I think that's a good wrap of the whole show here. And for you guys, if you have not, I don't know why you haven't, but you have not followed Wayne on YouTube yet, definitely check out his channel. If you type VOGoalie, I'm sure you'll find him on YouTube on the first one. And he has this daily Talking Tandy live stream that he does every Monday to Friday. Definitely go try to catch him. I know sometimes it's kind of hard. I try to, but not meant to call you out, Wayne. But
that's because you're West Coast and I'm East Coast. So yeah.
But it's good. Every time I'm tuning in the live stream, there's so many people just like talking on the side. I'm like, I just felt like I'm just like you said, I'm just hanging out with my BFFs, right? I love that. And for me, I post exclusive content on my beer league goalie journey, full show. The whole show highlights will also be posted on my YouTube channel as well. If you have any questions, suggestions, and you want any interaction with a group of people like myself alongside with other goalies, you can also join the Discord server that I set up called the Asian Goalie Community. And next month we will have a brand new theme. So every month I have a theme, and next month I'm gonna go deep, and the main theme will be the mental game we play. It's kind of tied to this, similar to topics that we talk about, but we're going to talk about more guests to share their stories on mental health. I think this is a big topic that I realized that was a big thing. I want to go deeper on that, and we also see how that could improve our games with a better mindset, all about the mind. So anyways, I appreciate you, Wayne. Thank you so much for coming in.
Felix, thank you so much for having me.
I had a blast just listening to all the great thing that you mentioned, and you know, your experience is definitely a great valuable thing for the goalie community and anybody. Just so appreciative. Like every time someone talk about you, there's always positive things. There's nothing negative. So just that fact, I'm like, you know, you're totally awesome. You are totally awesome. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. I'm gonna wrap the show. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in. Have a great weekend. that is a great conversation. So I'll see you guys next week.